Our biggest problem is success. Good is the biggest enemy of great. The better we are at working as a team, the better our entire company will thrive. The 1-3-1 rule is a problem-solving framework that'll help us go faster. You will make more money as you pursue greatness. How can you add extra value in your role, and how can you add extra value to the team? In this episode of the Think Media podcast, we're going to be talking about the number one problem that we are facing here at Think Media that has the potential to destroy us. We're going to be looking at how 2024 is the year of chaos. Chaos politically, economically, in business, around the world, and how that's going to affect YouTube, and the 10 things that we're doing here at Think Media to adapt and prepare. And we're also going to be covering the 2 mindsets that we could have going into 2024. One leads to success and one leads to failure. Choose wisely. But welcome to this special episode of the Think Media podcast. I'm actually, for the first time ever, we kind of have a studio audience here. We're on our all-team retreat. We have like 6 people or so joining us virtually and maybe 22 or so joining us in person here in Las Vegas. And in our all-team retreat, we talk about our 2023 theme, and we're going to be diving into that. And check out Timecodes and Chapters, because this is going to be kind of a rich episode. But before we talk about the future and crushing 2024 and how you can apply this to your YouTube channel, your business, I want to talk about where we've been, where we are, and where we are going. And I think about the history of Think Media and the lessons we've learned, and these are beneficial for, I think, all of us, and different phases. And so phase number 1 was the sketchy startup phase. On October 2015, Sonia and I stepped out in faith, and we went all in with what is now Think Media, but it was really sketchy at the start. By 2016, VRA, our main online course called Video Ranking Academy 1.0, was created. A few contractors started to help, and while I don't think we had codified it yet, we were on the same mission that we are on today. We want to help purpose-driven people use YouTube to grow their influence and income so they can make a greater impact. And what's kind of wild is 1 in 5 businesses fail in the first year. So I'm glad we made it. And then fast forward a few years, 2018 was our first live event called Grow with Video Live at Red Rock. Side note, we have an upcoming event, 2024, Las Vegas in April, growwithvideolive.com. But our first ever event was pretty memorable. That was actually the launch of the book, YouTube Secrets. And as far as like how profitable it was and kind of if you were measuring success by money, we lost $20,000. So we were negative $20,000 on our first event, but there were so many memories in regards to our team. If you recently saw Melissa Caputo on the podcast, doing some interviews, talking about real estate, some of the other episodes. That was the event when I shook Mel's hand for the first time. Jordan Perez had been helping with a side project called Video Influencers at the time. Kyle Anderson, who's now the director of our Think Media channel and content team, he was doing the audio, video, and lighting almost single-handedly. And Nolan, one of our content creators, filmed the entire event, and there's a mini documentary. We can actually link that up in the show notes. And here was the thing. We were thinking big in small places. We were taking big risks and even experiencing some setbacks in the process. I mean, losing $20,000 was pretty painful, but I've really learned that failures and setbacks are ultimately the stepping stones to success. So then we entered from the sketchy startup phase to the we are official phase. And in 2019, we formed an S Corp. Up until that point, it was all contractors and we didn't even have an LLC. Now, that's not advice. In fact, I don't even know, but I had a social security number and I was a sole proprietor for the first few years of our company, but we started to get more official in 2019. Grow with Video Live was at the SLS, which is now called the Sahara. And then in 2020, the pandemic hit. This is kind of a side phase I labeled the we are going to die phase. And so it was obviously a scary time. And February of 2020, I'll never forget, in January, we had actually taken some bold risks to expand. We hired some new people. We were stretching. We're like, it's January, new year, new you. Like, it's going to be an undefeated year. Like, nothing bad's going to happen. Let's crush, let's take some risks. And so we ultimately stepped out in faith, hired some people. And then I'll never forget our P&L statement, February 2022. we were negative $26,022.29. Now, my wife is the co-founder of the company and the CFO, and I'm not very good at math. That's why I married her. I need her help. But one of the things I learned was you don't want to be negative $26,000 in your expenses in a month. I mean, imagine your personal finances. It's a little painful and a little bit scary. I'm like looking at that. I'm like, I hope this all works out. We hire new people. We're negative. And then boom, March 2020, you remember things started to get shut down. The whole world started to get filled with fear. You remember the feelings and the emotions. And ultimately, we began to see two options. We learned that there's a difference between wartime leaders and peacetime leaders, and that we really had a choice. Are we going to shrink back in fear, or are we going to step forward in faith? And we began to go all in, and it was actually a year of explosive growth. And that was not because of what I did that year. By that time, it was what we as a team started to do, and a collective mentality that we had that we're going to keep pressing forward. We're going to believe everything is figure outable. And our top line revenue that year was $4.5 million. It was a quantum leap from what we had done before then. And we really haven't stopped that momentum since. You know, the next phase is the we are crushing it phase. And that's kind of lately what's been happening 2021, 2022. 2021, we did 5.8 million top line. 2022, 6.7 top line. 2023 has been a crazy year. It was our built to last year. But one of the things that I learned is only 9% of small businesses reach $1 million or more in revenue. Only 9% here in America. And in 2022, they said that most small businesses with one employee, this kind of sole proprietor, freelancer, the average revenue of those small businesses is $46,978 a year. You know, as kind of a side quest, we help people build their influence with YouTube, and we really encourage that independent creator to step out. Many of our team have those side hustles, but I actually think there's kind of a shift where it's sort of underrated to be connected to a company. And that sometimes when you're a part of something that is a little bit bigger, again, you could go on your own. $46,978 is the average top line income for a sole proprietor that's paying their own expenses. They don't have healthcare. In the creator economy, they don't have that kind of stuff. You got to kind of pick your direction. And so we entered in this we are crushing it phase. And ultimately, this past year, our theme was built to last. So we paused new books, we paused Growth Video Live, we paused some new products because we really wanted to get our team and systems in place. And we've been doing that. And we just celebrated a whole bunch of wins. Like the we are crushing it phase has been happening. But here's the problem. The we are crushing it phase is incredibly dangerous. And as we go into 2024, the year of chaos, our biggest problem actually isn't the economy for Think Media. And I think that's not your biggest problem either. It's not the political landscape. It's not global conflict. It's not rising competition on YouTube or in business. It's not the algorithm changing or algorithm complexity. Our biggest problem also isn't failure. I mean, for our company, in our context, look at the scoreboard. If you look at the math, the P&L, our net promoter score, our outputs, we're winning. Our biggest problem is success. That's our biggest problem. See, the biggest problem that you and I can experience is when things are good, because ultimately we're not building this company to be good. We're building this company to be great. And I've learned this, that actually failure is not the biggest enemy of greatness. Average is not the biggest enemy of greatness. Good is the biggest enemy of great. And for this reason, our theme for 2024 is good to great. The primary reason so few leaders and organizations ever become great is because they get good. They get comfortable. They get soft. We start taking it for granted. We get good, and then we stop. So I wrote down 5 dangers of success. Number 1 is overconfidence. In 1996, a group of people who tried to scale Mount Everest had to face the drastic consequence due to overconfidence bias. They faced a snowstorm on their way that resulted in the death of 8 people. 2 of the 8 people were professional mountaineers. They were the group leaders. They had scaled Everest before. They had done it a number of times. They knew that to safely finish their descent, their deadline to reach the peak was 2 p.m. in the afternoon. But due to some delays and snowstorms the team faced and difficulties, they actually crossed the deadline of 2 p.m. And these two elite mountaineers said, okay, we know what the deadline is, but we're going to proceed anyways. We'll be fine. We've done this before. We're professionals. The two were confident that they would be able to scale safely, but this overconfidence led to the death of their team, and they faced a strong snowstorm that they weren't expecting on the other side. One of our biggest enemies is overconfidence because, man, look how good we are. Look how well we've done. Look at all the wins we've got. Too many people use their track record or their prior successes as evidence that they've arrived. We're in trouble if we start believing in our own headlines. We're in trouble because once we start getting a formula for success, we write it down, we build the manual, and then we document the formula, but that's the problem. We lost that hunger. We lost that humility. And success has a brutal side. It can make you arrogant. It can make you complacent, and it can make you close your mind. Question for you. Are you hungry, humble, and willing to hustle, or are you overconfident? We're talking about 5 dangers of success. The second one is complacency and a loss of motivation. Blockbuster, a VHS and DVD rental company, started in 1985, and they grew to 9,000 stores across the globe. But in the year 2000, a little startup company called Netflix began to make waves with a new model. The leaders at Blockbuster called Netflix a fad. Oh, it's just a fad. Look at this little startup. And then ultimately, fast forward to today, Blockbuster went bankrupt, and today Netflix is worth $200 billion as a company. Ultimately, it was the cancer of complacency that killed Blockbuster. See, this is what happens. You experience a little success, you start taking it easy. You ignore a competitor, your team, you ignore your company, and then it's too late and the business collapses. Andrew Grove, former CEO of Intel, said this: success breeds complacency. Complacency breeds failure. Only the paranoid survive. We can't get complacent or lose our motivation and just think because of all the wins we've had over the last few years, we'll keep having them. And I want to encourage you that how can these points apply to your business, your channel? Here's number 3, playing it safe. As we grow as a company, we need to be wise. We have legal counsel. We are careful to avoid decisions that could be fatal. However, if we're going to be great, we have to be willing to continue to take risks. We have to be willing to keep embracing change. We are young. I'm only 40 and I plan to live to 120. Our company is only 8 years old and we are just getting started. Number 4 is the neglect of personal growth. Leaders of successful organizations are tempted to stop working on themselves. Are you committed to working on yourself in 2024? See, they continue to work hard on their job, and this is a big difference. It's not just about working hard on your job or your YouTube channel. Are you working hard on yourself, on your character, on your mindset, on your knowledge, on your abilities, on your health? See, when people start getting complacent, they maybe still do what's necessary at their job, but they have a tendency to neglect personal growth. They use their experience and their track record as a license to never read another book and an excuse to never attend another developmental course or event in their field. They point their claim and accomplishments, and they point to their claim and to their accomplishments, and they decide to rely on the skills they've learned in the past for the rest of their career. They develop an arrogance of intelligence that leads to disabling ignorance. And ignorance disables them, their people, and as a result, their business. And then finally, number 5, ethical compromises. You know, the Bible records a story of King David, and it reveals that when he should have been on the front lines of battle, instead he was on the front porch getting distracted by a woman who wasn't his wife, which ultimately led to an affair and a domino effect of issues in his life that affected his community, the kingdom he was leading. And so ethical compromises start to become a little bit easier when we believe our own press, when we start to experience success. These are 5 dangers of success that we have to be careful of. And so the question is, as we go into 2024, what mindset do we need to make sure we don't fall into these 5 traps that we just learned about? And how can you actually decide, listening to this podcast, okay, what's my mindset going to be in 2024? Well, there's 2 options. You can either have a maintenance mindset or you can have a growth mindset. And the one that we're going to have at Think Media is we got to have a growth mindset. The growth mindset says, I never arrive in my business or my personal life. I will never get to a place where there's nothing more to be done and nothing more to be said and nothing more to be learned. The goal of business is to strive to our full potential. And full potential means focusing on seeing how far can you go? How good can you get? And how many people can you bring with you? Imagine what was possible for you if you maintain a growth mindset. You know, building your YouTube channel, it's not about comparison. How far can you go? Not how far are your competitors going. How good can you get? How much can you compete with the person you are yesterday? Come on, you know our mantra. We get 1% better with every upload. How many people can you bring with you? In fact, who's waiting on the other side of you getting uncomfortable, punching fear in the face and pressing record? I would have never imagined that there would be a studio audience during this Think Media podcast. And now there's all these incredible humans who have incredible families and children and the difference that our small company can make. And we are just a tiny sliver of the creator economy. Imagine you getting out of fear, getting out of complacency and stepping out. How far can you go? How good can you get? How many people can you bring with you? That's the growth mindset. And reality dictates this, that we're probably never going to reach our full potential. The spirit of this entire podcast is not arrogance, like we even think we're so good. That's not what we think at all. We just want to do our best. And we've got huge goals. We want to help 1 million purpose-driven people go full-time on YouTube and make a difference in the world with YouTube and experience that success without losing their soul. I don't know if we're going to reach that number, but we're going to keep striving for it. And the reality dictates that we might not reach our full potential, but the journey is what we're committed to because the journey keeps you humble, it keeps you hungry, and it keeps you focused. So a growth mindset sees success as a stepping stone, not a pedestal. Growing people grow people. And so at our company, as we are really in our leadership event, we also want to think about that our personal growth is also not just about us. When you grow, it inspires the person on your left, the person on your right. Maintenance people don't grow. And when you don't grow, you plateau. It's just a matter of time. Once it happens, you plateau everyone working with you. If the leader goes flat, my influence with everybody in my organization will fizzle and fade. And when the leader doesn't grow, people don't grow. It's called the law of the lid, and stagnant leaders stunt the growth of an organization. Great organizations, they always step up. Good organizations, they always back up. A lot of the quotes in this podcast I'm stealing from John Maxwell, and I wasn't going to give him credit. But at that point, I felt too much pressure because that line was too good. And so a growth mindset says, I need to step up to a new level, and I want to challenge you. 2024, you need to step up to a new level. So we're going to cover why should we pursue greatness, and then briefly the 10 areas of personal growth we need to pursue in order to achieve greatness in 2024. But why do this? Because you're like, okay, bro, this has been intense. Like this, I mean, shoot, like this kind of sounds hard. You're right. Like the pursuit of greatness, it won't be easy. Going from good to great, it's going to be painful. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be stretching. It's going to be uncomfortable. So why do it? 5 reasons. Number 1, job security. Talking to our team, when we pursue greatness and we embrace that journey and we get uncomfortable, we'll stay in business. There'll be ups, there'll be downs. We don't know what the future holds, but I'm confident that we will be able to survive anything if we stay unified and we continue to pursue greatness. We'll stay in business. Number 2, job satisfaction. We'll love showing up to work. Man, I don't want to be a part of something like, how's your job? Like what you do every day? It's kind of like average. I don't know, it's kind of mediocre. Like, no, I want to be a part of something that just is at least aspirational. Like, let's at least try. Whether we win or lose, like, let's actually go for it. Like, we're going to love showing up to work. Number 3 is self-image. We will have a higher self-esteem. People that are constantly learning and growing, they have a good self-image. Number 4 is financial prosperity. We'll make more money. And I want to encourage you, you're listening to this, you will make more money as you pursue greatness. It will impact the bottom line. And for our team, collectively, we'll make more money when we level up and continue to pursue that next level. And then number 5, impact and legacy. Again, who's waiting for us with our knowledge, with our content, with our services, with our products? Who's waiting for you to step out, get uncomfortable, embrace a little pain, sacrifice a little? One of the things that happens with impact and legacy is we lift the lid for others. We're humbled by all the stories we get at Think Media that it's not even just the direct impact. Somebody watches a video, joins a challenge, joins VRA, buys a book. They're impacted. We hear their stories. That's incredible. But there's also just those that are watching. Maybe they get a little more courage by seeing us take a risk. Maybe they get an idea by just seeing what we're doing at our team, what we're doing in our culture. See, as we go from good to great, we actually will lift the lid, not just for Think Media and even our direct community. We're going to lift the lid for those around us. And what would happen if hundreds of people lived with this mindset? What would happen if the people you influence, and could it be 1 or 2 or 200 that see you lifting the lid, stretching and going for greatness? They go for a little bit more. Man, could that change the world? Don't we need that right now with so much shrinking back in fear and so much settling for mediocrity and average? We're going to lift the lid for others. And what the leader does determines what everybody else is doing, so you don't pass the leader. By the way, this message really comes out as our team directors discuss, man, what would be a theme for 2024 and kind of where are we and what are some of our enemies, success being our enemy, good being our enemy. Like good, we could get complacent. We got to go for great. But I feel the weight of this. And I never want to feel entitled. Like the day that I stop growing, the day that I settle, the day that I settle for good, I don't want to work at Think Media anymore. Thank God I'm like the co-owner with my wife, because I'll probably still be fine, but I want to step aside from the role of CEO or a content creator if I lose my edge. I'm dead serious about that. I understand life could happen, maybe passions change, things happen, but if the thing we're a part of is bigger than the part we play, then that means that we value the organization over our own individual role. And I take my role seriously. I don't want to be a lid for others, and I want to continue to lift that lid. An organization's growth doesn't outpass the leader's progress. And as I lift the lid for myself, I lift the lid for others. If you just joined Think Media, we have people watching online. You've been here like 3 days, like 4 days. I want to encourage you. The history of Think Media shows that people that came in, they were just answering emails. They were just doing data organization. They came in, they're doing some video editing. That we have continued to expand, grow, and lift the lid, but I still believe we're just getting started. But I want to challenge you, like growth could stop at any level in the organization. Don't think that, oh, I just do this at Think Media or I just do that at Think Media. No, you have a chance to commit to growth, to grow as a leader. And as I lift my lid and you lift your lid and we continue to grow, man, what's possible for the impact we can make? And before we get to the 10 areas, as we land the plane with 10 things, so we'll see how fast we can get through those. But I do have a bonus of this thing of why pursue greatness. And here's bonus number 6, and it's God's glory. Here's a question for you. Does God get maximum glory from us when we settle for average or good? We're his creation. He designed us. He put us on earth. Or does God get the most glory when we respond to the gift of life with gratitude, with our best gifts, our best talents, our best opportunities, and the abilities that he's given us? You know, we see this parable of the talents in the Bible, and we see that life is really about stewardship. It's not about having equal opportunities or equal gifts or equal talents, but we all have something. If we have breath in our lungs, if we can think clearly in our mind, then we just have a chance to make some kind of contribution to the planet. So would it give God maximum glory for me to play small? Would it give God maximum glory for me to live in fear and just bury my talent? Or would it give God maximum glory for me to multiply what he has given me? We don't know if you're starting your YouTube channel, will you get a gold play button, or will you build a really cool YouTube channel that brings $5,000-$10,000 extra dollars in a year? And you could set that aside for your family's future to take better vacations and change people's lives with your content. Just about stewardship. I just want to take whatever I have, be faithful with it, and multiply it. There's a reason we should get uncomfortable and challenge ourselves, is because of job security, job satisfaction, self-image, financial prosperity, impact and legacy, and God's glory. And so when going from good to great, what does it look practically? How could we measure this? And if we're going to take action in a 2024 environment, what are some areas of personal growth that we can pursue in order to go from good to great. I want to encourage our team as we're taking notes and thinking through this. Which of these 10 areas stands out to you most? And if you're listening to this podcast, which of these 10 areas do you want to improve in most? And I want to kind of look through these and maybe define what would good in this area be or what would great in this area be. So here's number one, performance level. Performance level. Okay, what's good? Good. Meets expectations consistently and completes tasks to a satisfactory level. Awesome. I mean, that's solid, right? Like good. It meets expectations consistently and completes tasks to a satisfactory level. But then what's great? Exceeds expectations regularly and finds ways to go beyond the assigned tasks, adding extra value to their work. You know, at Think Media, we strive to exceed expectations with our offers. This is oftentimes why, in addition to Video Ranking Academy, if you've ever seen a presentation of that product, maybe on a web class or a challenge, there's extra bonuses that add extra value. Question, how can you add extra value in your role, and how can you add extra value to the team? I want to challenge you if you're listening to this. Not only if you think about how could I exceed expectations with my YouTube content, but most of us we got a side hustle. You got a full-time job, you got your part-time job, you got a main thing that you're doing. And if you want to even have more satisfaction, also more money, more promotions, more security, more impact, don't settle for good at your performance level. Strive for great and think about, man, how can I add extra value? How can I go beyond the assigned task? It's cool to do the checklist. It's cool to do but even greater is to do the checklist and say, and I saw this opportunity and that opportunity, and I tackled those as well. So number one is performance level. Number two is initiative. Here's what good is. Performs tasks as directed and may occasionally suggest improvements. Okay, what's great? Great. Proactively seeking out opportunities for improvement, self-starters, that implement new ideas or solutions. I know for us, our Think Media culture, we want to take initiative. We don't want to just say, okay, what's my checklist? What's my to-do list? We want to say, what's the opportunity in my department? What's the opportunity in the company not in my department? How can I be improving? How can I be a self-starter, getting things done starting before I'm asked and implementing new ideas and solutions? It makes me think of Drea, who has been on the team for a few months and pretty wild. You know, I would have never thought 10 years ago when I started to study YouTube and affiliate marketing, and you may have heard the story, doing tech reviews, doing gift ideas for him. And I really love the fact you can rank videos and connect it to affiliate marketing. And this was a very external blessing that we could have never planned for. But one of the things that Amazon let us know this year is they said, hey, if you opt into this, and we're getting emails, we're actually going to move your percentage during the holidays from 4% to 6%. Insane. They're like, we just want to give you more money. Now, they also wanted to incentivize us, but they said, you know, in order to get this, you need to click here and opt in. Now, one of my issues is I don't even check email. I haven't checked email in years. And that's also, I'm trying to play to my strengths and trying to hire people to help. And so Drea caught this, and not only did she catch and said, I'm already opted in, I already saw that, and she locked that in. But then also they said later, if you hit a particular top line dollar amount in your Amazon affiliate sales in November, we're going to give you $6,000 extra dollars. And so our entire content team started to rally behind that. And it was initiative, man, seeing opportunities, seeing a new idea, and then everyone being like, okay, we better hit that number because like we're so close. And so that is initiative. It makes me think about Daisy. One of our income streams is JV partnerships at our company. And this year she helped bring in over $100,000 of new income, unrelated to anything we've ever done before, because of taking initiative and not just thinking about, okay, I'm going to steward the relationships that Sean has built, the friendships, relationships, and the different people he knows. She does a great job at that, answering email, texting back and forth, and setting these things up. No, she saw an opportunity in our network. She's scanning the inbox, building her network and seeing different things. And that led to making a real difference. I think about Omar. He jumped on the best vlog cameras and he brought all of them with him on family travels. And he made a masterpiece of a video breaking down the new DJI Pocket versus the ZV-1 with the wider angle one, the Mark II with the iPhone versus the Canon V10. But he planned ahead. He took initiative. He had foresight. He's such a master of his craft now that he like knows the shots ahead of time. He knows what's happening, and he lives a pretty cool life too. Because I mean, he's just in Mexico golfing and just chilling, making these videos. But he's taking initiative. What would happen if you didn't just settle for a good level of initiative this year, but you went to a great level of initiative? I think about Steph. He started our TikTok without permission, actually. So all of a sudden one day, I was like, wow, Think Media has a TikTok. Like, that's kind of cool. And I'm actually kind of bitter about it as well, because he lives in Canada. We can't even monetize it because we don't even qualify. This is the greatest backfire of all time. And thank God our business is healthy and we don't rely on just that stream of income. And I hope that TikTok expands that income stream. But again, that was initiative. Literally, he was like, we're a video company and we have all this vertical video. Rather than asking, he just took action. And that's the vibe I want to have at Think Media. Of course, we want to be smart. We want to be wise. But man, I would much rather our team take initiative and then being like, cool, here's how we could tweak that. Let's pivot that. Great. Rather than just like sit around just performing tasks as directed, maybe occasionally suggesting improvements. Come on, let's go to greatness with initiative.
Have you ever wondered how your life could change if you had the right tools and connections at your fingertips? Imagine getting insider access to the latest trends and dynamic relationships propelling your business and YouTube channel to the next level. All of that and more is happening at our annual conference, Grow with Video Live, April 2024 in Las Vegas. Grow with Video Live is the only conference that's focused on helping experts, entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers, and business-minded content creators learn the best video marketing strategies and how to scale high-impact businesses with YouTube. You'll hear from industry experts like Dave Ramsey, Chalene Johnson, Pat Flynn, and others who are doing this at a top level. To purchase your ticket to attend, just go to growwithvideolive.com. And I should note, this conference will not be streaming online. As our world becomes more digital, we are focused on creating an environment for human connection and transformation. So this event is truly going to be special. Seats are limited and we always sell out. So make sure to secure your ticket at growwithvideolive.com.
All right, number 3, skill development. Good. Maintains necessary skills for their role and are open to learning when required. Okay, what's great? Continually seeking to enhance their skills and knowledge, staying ahead of industry trends and seeking personal and professional growth. So the Harvard Business Review did a survey of 3,500 managers and found this out. Only 29% of new hires have all of the skills for their current roles. Side quest, I think that this is an important thing in the creator economy in general. You might be thinking like, you're a business owner, like, man, how could I hire somebody that has like been doing brand deal management for the last 10 years of their life? You can't. It hasn't even existed, bro. Like, that's the thing. Like, there is new skills, there's new roles. And so the reality is, and we're seeing this at Think, there's people coming on the team, they don't have all the skills required for their current roles yet, let alone future ones. And so this was the survey. Only 3 out of 10 people that came onto teams from this survey had the skills for today. And what is the skills that are going to be needed for tomorrow? But here's what the research finds. In key functions such as finance, IT, and sales, positions filled today will require 10 new skills in the next 18 months. What? Like, you're not a greatness if you don't learn 10 new skills in the next 18 months. By the way, that might not even be good to great. That's just survival. Positions will require 10 new skills in the next 18 months. And it also documents rising uncertainty about what skills will be needed in current and future jobs with the surge of remote work, which sparks the redesign of automation of many tasks. So what about AI? Man, if we're not studying AI and using AI in every single one of our roles, we're going to get left behind. If we're not mastering our CRMs, for us, we recently moved over to HubSpot. It's more of an enterprise level. Like, if we don't master our CRM, like, we don't want to just be good. Oh, I know the minimal. I think about some of our internal tools, Slack, Monday, Zoom, learning our battle stations. Are we setting up our battle stations, meaning our workspaces, our home desks, for peak productivity and efficiency? What about design? Leaning on tools like Canva, there's maybe a level where we need to take it to a level of Photoshop, take it to another level. I'm not saying you're watching this just having the basics, but good is like, okay, well, I got the necessary skills. I can get by. No, great is how do I enhance my skills? And Harvard Business Review is saying we need to learn 10 new skills in the next 18 months. I need to learn 10 new skills in the next 18 months. So what skills are you really focusing on this year? What's maybe one skill that you want to develop and grow and get better at? I want to acknowledge Melissa Caputo, who I mentioned earlier in our history. At the first Grow Up Video Live, I shook her hand for the first time. She was kind of timid, maybe bold and strong, a little bit more, hidden as a powerful woman, but also not super. She wasn't on camera in those days. Public speaking would probably not be one of her greatest strengths. And she had done some entrepreneurial endeavors on her own brands, had helped her parents' coffee company and stuff. But I probably wouldn't have called her a world-class marketer, understanding email marketing, paid advertising, copywriting, running teams, being a great leader. Now it's 5 years later. And she has repeatedly reinvented herself and learned new skills. She recently was just sharing wins downstairs and sharing about our core values. She is an articulate, sharp, powerful public speaker now. Her composure, how she is on camera, her knowledge. And she is our chief marketing officer and an absolute assassin in the skill sets needed to do marketing at a world-class level. Make no mistake. At Think Media, we're playing good to great, and we got to learn new skills. And also make no mistake if you're like, dear God, this is the most intense session Sean has ever shared. Like you might be coming in, 3 out of 10 people, you don't even have the skills for your current role. That's fine. Where are you going to be in the next year? Where are you going to be in the next 5 years? If we have a greatness mindset when it comes to skill development. I think about Jordan Perez, who's been on basically that same timeline. For the past 5 years, she has continually learned new skills. Her role has shifted, understanding HR, doing health insurance stuff now, setting up different team management stuff, reading books like Never Lose a Customer Again and Never Lose a Team Member Again, thinking about how do you build world-class culture, thinking about how do you use predictive index and Enneagram and how do we do hiring, thinking about all of our team directors. Like I am surrounded by some of the most remarkable people that I've ever met in my life that are here now at a retreat and watching online. And that is to the credit of a group of people. Hey, none of us ever hired anybody before. Like, what are we doing? Like, we don't know what's going on. You can figure this stuff out, but not with a good mindset. It's got to be what are the best tools? How can I learn this? And how can I learn from my mistake? Have we made mistakes along the way? Of course. But I want to encourage our team, Melissa Caputo, Jordan Perez, they're pictures of what's possible. Not only where could you be in the next year, but where could you be in the next 5? Number 4, problem solving. Problem solving. These are 10 areas, kind of overwhelming, but I know we need to learn 10 skills. So if we're getting 1% better in these different skill sets, it's going to lift everything around you. And number 4 is problem solving. Good, handles problems competently, and follows standard procedures to resolve them. Hey, that's solid. But what about great? Displays exceptional problem-solving skills, often coming up with innovative solutions and handling crisis with a calm and effective approach. One of the podcasts we listen to as a team is called the Craig Rochelle Leadership Podcast. A lot of times in any given month, we might listen to that podcast and try to grow as leaders. And we learned a term from Craig Rochelle that we all declare as a team at Think Media. And it's, I am the CPS. I am the Chief Problem Solver. In kind of a cheesy and weird activity, what if we all said that together? I am the CPS. Here we go, team. I am the CPS. So weird. But ultimately, but we need to be the chief problem solver. Not like, oh, my director is the problem solver. No, I am the chief problem solver. And I stay cool and I handle crises calmly. Here's a new thing we're going to implement in 2024. Think Media team, lock in. So in 2024, we're going to implement the 1-3-1 rule. Here's what it is. The 1-3-1 rule is a problem-solving framework that empowers teams to quickly identify and address specific problems by creating 3 viable options and making 1 specific recommendation. So when you come to your director or me with a problem, here's what I expect. Number 1, I need to clearly know what the problem is. Like, what exactly are we solving for? There might be multiple problems. We do this in multiple verticals. But like, what is the problem we're solving for? Okay, define the problem. Number 2, you have, ahead of time, come up with 3 solutions. So it's not like, hey, I have a problem, help. It's, we could do this, we could do that, or we could do this. This one would cost this much. I researched it. These are the reviews. This one would cost this much. It seems like it's better, but it seems super expensive. This one would cost this much. And this one, it has these unique nuances. And then you're going to choose one based on, if it was me, I think I would go with this one. The 1-3-1 rule is a problem-solving framework that'll help us go faster. Because being the chief problem solver is not just like, here's the problem, you figure it out, boss. It's like, no, like all of us at every level want to be the CPS, the chief problem solver. This makes me think of my wife and co-founder and the CFO of the company, Sonia Cannell. And when it comes to problem solving, I mentioned we weren't even an S Corp until 2019. So we started to learn how to like be a big boy, big girl business. We started to like set things up. But in the last year, we're doing business insurance. Do we have an umbrella policy? Do we have this? We're doing health insurance. We hired a financial assistant to help with state taxes, QuickBooks. There is tons of little problems that we continue to encounter with contracts, but she is so sharp and she catches this detail and that detail that saves us money and that protects us. I promise you this, 2024 is going to be full of problems. And so you and I need to be chief problem solvers. All right, number 5, teamwork and collaboration. So good. Teamwork and collaboration works well within a team and cooperates with colleagues. Obviously, if you were average or poor, once addressed, if not corrected, that would mean you couldn't be on the team anymore. And obviously, if you're average or poor at even your content or whatnot, you shouldn't feel entitled to views. But good might be enough to get by. I can cooperate. I work well with team members. But what's great? Great is it excels in a team setting, often taking the lead in collaborative projects and helping elevate the performance of the entire team. Here's a couple of challenges that we're facing this year. We're seeing some silos in Think Media as we grow as a team. Like we have YouTube Shorts, which is our vertical videos. And actually there's a agency that kind of helps chop those up. And ultimately we have a content team, but our content team doesn't even post our shorts. It's actually Tyler, our social media team. But sometimes but what is Tyler even doing? And where does it come from? And who is doing that? And then we've got our community tab. Well, who posts on our community tab? Not actually our YouTube content, actually our social media team. Well, who's posting on the community tab? Is Drea supposed to? No, actually it's Tyler. Well, should our YouTube team do it? We got different things happening. So teamwork and collaboration is to say, okay, well, what does it look like to think about these different divisions of our company? Ultimately, we see it as kind of 4 different businesses as we go into 2024. We've got our YouTube channel business, our info product business, our event business, Growth Video Live, and our consulting business now, VRA Elite, that is helping leaders and people grow their YouTube channel on a more coaching basis. We can't tolerate good in teamwork and collaboration. We have to be asking good questions. And here are some specific thoughts for the Think Media team. Ask good questions about who does what? How could I do better? What is happening outside of my department that I need to know about? Learn about the whole company. Learn about how the different departments are connected. We need to be reading. And one of the books we could also all should read is the 17 Laws of Teamwork. Because the better we are at working as a team, the better our entire company will thrive. All right, number 6, adaptability. Good. If I'm adaptable, I'm able to adapt to changes as needed. And I can handle transitions if you give me guidance. Yeah, if there's changes, I could do it. If you guide me through changes, I could do it. Here's what great is on adaptability. Quickly adapts to new situations and challenges, often foreseeing changes and preparing in advance. Oh, a change happens. I know immediately, and I get it. Like I want to do my best to release information and give you time and look ahead. You're like, yeah, right. We know what it is. You go live in like 4 seconds but like, I want to look ahead. But the reality of the environment we're in, hey, Sean, can you just make it so like everything is just stable and we could just count on what tomorrow, is going to be when it comes to YouTube? That's impossible in our industry. And I would argue globally, that's impossible in almost every industry. We're going to get hit by things that have nothing to do with my decisions or the team's decisions. We're going to get hit with a new feature on YouTube, a new announcement, a new way the YouTube algorithm works. One of the things I wrote in YouTube Secrets 2nd edition, the book is still fire, link in the description down below, you should pick it up. YouTube Secrets 2nd edition has a small section about YouTube stories. They don't even exist anymore. Like literally YouTube shut down the feature of YouTube stories. And so we need to know that things are going to shift and we have to be ready to adapt to new situations and challenges and foresee the changes. So if we're on a Zoom meeting and a new announcement, you're like, man, that's going to be a domino effect of pain, which I know Victoria and Melissa here, they're like, wow, Sean has a new decision. Now 14 funnels are going to be broken and all of a sudden we're going to, but can we see further? Oh, okay. How can I prepare in advance for that? Foresee changes. And I do want to honor our entire team for being willing to hustle and pivot to seize opportunities. In the creator economy, you have to be willing to hustle and pivot with opportunities because stuff changes all the time. I really want to honor our live stream team because I know that's a roller coaster of its own. How long is he going to go on Coffee with Cannell? It's 1 minute before it starts. Is he going to show up? I have a perfect track record, I think, even though I know that's my bad. I want to go from good to great and actually get there early. But I want to thank you for being willing to adapt, being willing to pivot. I want to acknowledge Ian for pivoting thumbnails and working on graphic design side quests for me, even this year. We don't want to be, we could get into, the content team could say, okay, the title needs to be approved a week ahead. The thumbnail needs to be a couple weeks ahead. We need to get the edits. And that's all true. But then once the video comes out, we need to be ready to pivot that moment as well. Like there is not a world where it's like, oh, wow, we are just planned out ahead and all scheduled out. I'm not making an excuse for not doing that. The further ahead, hitting deadlines is key. But we don't want to be like, oh, I can't believe I'm getting a request now. We live in different time zones. Like if we want to be world class, it's one thing if we just want to be good, but if we want to be great, that video drops 8 out of 10 and we know it should be a 2 out of 10. We know it should be a banger, but something's wrong. So we're paying attention. So we're willing to pivot. The team already worked for 30 minutes an hour on title crew, 50 titles debated, final title decided, video comes out. Are we ready to pivot and adapt? And we could say, man, it's frustrating. Sure. But this is resilient spirit. We just quickly are ready to pivot. Why? So that we can ultimately win. So we can have victory. So we don't just settle and be like, just leave it. That's good enough. No, this year's theme, good to great. Content team, when I need an extra weekend podcast, shout out to Steph, shout out to Kyle. Like not only are we doing 2 a week, but I'm like, bro, I feel this and this needs to drop Sunday. Like we can make it, I try to be practical, like let's make it lean, let's do this, but I'm feeling it. Thank you for being adaptable. Thank you for, one of our values is built to last. We don't want to have constant last minute changes or toxic and fatiguing pace of just chaos. But man, when it's time and when we feel it, we want to jump on opportunities. That's a greatness mindset. I want to acknowledge Brooke, who with Brian has been helping build out VRA Elite, for being flexible and adaptable with building a brand new program, for asking questions, for getting clarity, and for being patient as we're really committed to designing an incredible group coaching program called VRA Elite. If you want to learn about that, we can link that up in the show notes. It's called elitevra.com. But that would just be taking our course VRA and our new program where you can get more. It's kind of like, do you want the online course where you do it yourself? And, I have certain things on my phone, like I have a list of like a workout to do. But there's a difference between having the list on my phone and having a personal trainer. And I know that in this last year, I hired a personal trainer. It cost me $5,000. Best investment I made because it was another level of accountability, another level of actually doing the stuff that's doing the checklist. Accountability is priceless. And so shout out to Brooke, shout out to Brian for building that new program and for us already getting such incredible feedback from the students, the Net Promoter Score. And shout out to Jordan as Sonia and Mai's executive assistant. Talk about needing to pivot and adapt when it comes to schedule, travel, when it comes to odd hours and flights and different things, and a million other tasks that she does. Just to see that she's embodying that adaptability mindset. It's one thing also to adapt with a bad attitude because it can be frustrating. It's a whole nother thing to be like, oh man, all right, we're going to stay positive. Come on, let's adapt. All right, we got 3 more. It's 100 degrees in this studio. And I know we've already been going for a long time and we're landing the plane. But I want you to have these as well for your personal life as well, because I really believe that 2024 could be a good to great year. Number 7, communication skills. Good. Communicates effectively and clearly with team members and management. That's a baseline expectation. But what's great? Great communicators are exceptional. They're adept at expressing their ideas, at influencing others, and listening actively to feedback. So this means talking well. This means slacking well. If you don't thread, this is your last day at Think. Like you need a thread under the post, not just keep spamming it up. Like we need a master. So it's talking well, it's slacking well, it's Mondaying well. It's knowing how to use these tools. It's also listening well. I think when we think communication, the most underrated aspect of communication is listening. Like how good of a listener are you? Taking notes on 100% of meetings. I take physical notes on 100% of meetings. Why? Like I just write things down. I write stuff down. Well, Sean, do you go back and review it? Most of the time I don't actually. But listen to this. Those who write by hand on paper are 25% quicker at note-taking tasks than those who use digital technology. And a study of Japanese university students and recent graduates have revealed that writing on physical paper can lead to more brain activity when remembering the information an hour later. And so listening well is being in meetings and taking notes and capturing those different details. AI note takers are cool, but physical notes are undefeated. And if we're going to have good communication skills, we want to be able to talk well, digitally communicate well, but also capture details across department. We got to be sharp in meetings. We want to capture those little things. And we need to ask effective questions at the end of meetings. If we're leaving so wait a minute, who's doing that? We need to clarify, who is doing what by when? What are the action items? What are the deadlines? When are we getting that done? If we miss that, then we just all got together on Zoom and transferred some information, and then we're gonna have so much work later. Did we capture the to-dos in Monday? Did we move them to Monday, move them to Slack? If we only stay good at this one, we'll crumble as we grow at our company. So important, because with more team members, more open loops, more cross channels of communication, we need to go from good to great in this area. All right, last ones. Work ethic and attitude, number 8. Good has a strong work ethic and positive attitude, contributing to a healthy work environment. But what's great? Consistently reliable, highly motivated, and displays a contagious enthusiasm that boosts the morale of those around them. I want to thank Kyle for leading meetings and having a contagious enthusiasm. Being our spin the wheel guy, being motivated, displaying enthusiasm, being reliable, showing up with energy and being prepared. I want to thank Andy for having contagious enthusiasm and always showing honor and gratitude. It means the world to me when I get a DM from you, Andy, where you're showing honor, gratitude. It's an attitude thing. We want to have an attitude at our company that is great. Sam, I want to thank you for being marked with joy. I want to thank Victoria for being team no sleep. When I think about work ethic, I think about, I'll tell you, because on the one hand, we're built to last too. So I respect boundaries. You're off, and that's, legit, no weird, but what Sean really meant. No, but like legit, if you're off, you should be off. But it does mean the world to me, because sometimes I work at odd hours, or especially Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend, when everybody else is sleeping with tryptophan because they ate so much turkey. We're doing live streams and whatnot, and it could be 9:30, 12:22, and I'll put something in Slack, and Victoria's like, yeah, and then she'll reply back. I'll be like, what the heck is happening? When do you sleep? I didn't expect you to, I just wanted you to see this in the morning. But that's work ethic, consistently reliable, highly motivated, contagious enthusiasm. And you know what? That boosts the morale of those around us. Number 9, impact on business goals. Good. Contributes positively to the organization's goals and objectives. What about great? Has a significant and often measurable impact on the success and direction of the business. You know, every day in Slack, we share our IPAs, and IPA stands for income producing activities. If you're listening to the podcast, IPA also is a genre of beer. IPA also might mean other things, but every single day we focus on our IPAs at Think Media, which is our income producing activities. I want to challenge you in 2024, like to not just do busy work, to also to ask yourself and weigh tasks like this is a thing I could do. And this is a thing though that would actually move the mission forward and generate cash because cash flow is oxygen for any kind of business. So great Think team members ask this: how exactly does my role contribute to generating income? Like that's so important for every single one of us. And it's harder for some of us. Understand, the longer you sit with the problem is the essence of genius. Some people just go, I'm not sure. Sometimes somebody thinks about a problem for months. Sometimes they think about it for years. But as we think about, man, what could I do in my role that could contribute to generating more income? How could I directly increase the company's revenue? This is a fact. There are thousands. Actually, I wrote hundreds. I don't know if there's thousands, but I promise you there's hundreds. There are hundreds of untapped opportunities within our existing business to increase revenue. I promise you that. There are literally hundreds, as we sit here celebrating all the wins we just celebrated, of untapped revenue opportunities. In the creator economy, when you're dealing with digital advertising or email marketing, like you could do an email campaign. What other video could we create? What other campaign could we launch? What other offer could we make? Like there's literally hundreds of untapped opportunities. How could we in customer service, as we're serving people, also educate people about other opportunities to get more value, but that also could increase the revenue of the company? There are hundreds of opportunities. You know, good is like, yeah, I'm hitting my checklist. I mean, I'm hitting the goals, I'm doing the objectives, but great is, man, thinking about what is the measurable impact I can make that actually could lift the entire business. And by the way, my commitment to you is you, again, wouldn't be in this room if you weren't already living this to a certain degree. But if you are an intrapreneur at this company, a good book is Lynchpin by Seth Godin. Man, how can I just be a game changer in my team? Like, you're going to go far. There's no lid to the promotion. There's no lid to the financial opportunity. Like, but that's not just waiting. When am I going to get a shot? When am I going to get called up? When am I going to get told to do how I could go to the next level? We're committed to that as well. We're going to do our best. Your director and one-on-ones are going to do their best. But what are you waiting for? Like, there's so much opportunity for you to take initiative and make an impact on the business's goals. We're going to try to land in the next 8 minutes, and we have a ways to go, but a few people to shout out. Nolan, your Genius Advice series, 0 to 100, 1,000 subs in 9 days. These are million viewed videos. That's impact on the goals. Jeffrey, your mastery of your craft keeps us crushing it with paid ads, while many are actually struggling with paid ads. Your continual mastery of it, not settling in it. Caleb, thank you for being driven and committed, and thank you for stepping up into being a Think Media coach, which is helping us build a whole new thing and take things to a whole nother level. Number 10, lastly, and then one final story as the plane will officially be taxiing to the gate. Leadership qualities, maybe most important. Good, may display some leadership qualities and can manage responsibilities well. What's great? Possesses strong leadership traits, inspiring others, and often mentoring or guiding colleagues, even if not in a formal leadership role. A formal leadership role. See, the biggest mistake is someone's like, well, I don't know. Are you a leader at the company? No, that's the wrong answer. No, yeah, I'm a leader at the company. Oh, are you a leader at the company? No, I haven't gotten that title yet. Nobody's asked me yet. No, that's not really how leadership works. How leadership works is we take initiative and we just lead even if we don't have a former leadership role. The mindset, if you're listening to this, you want to see your whole world shift, if you stop waiting for permission or waiting to be invited, and you start taking extreme responsibility, man, I'm going to be a leader in my family. I'm going to be a leader with my YouTube channel. I'm not going to wait for my shot. I'm going to lead. I'm going to start thinking big in small places and leveling up as a leader. Brian, want to acknowledge you for being an all-time leader, for living our core values, and for already being a great leader. And the team has echoed that. I mean, that's not just my opinion, and that is my opinion, but hearing how you lead, the nuances of how you lead. But what's amazing is you're living our core value of good to great, because you're already good, man. You're already a good leader. So let's just keep doing what we're doing. But no, you continue to ask questions. You continue to want to learn. You continue to want to grow. You continue to press forward. I'm inspired by your leadership qualities. I want to acknowledge Ian for being a 360-degree leader. He already is leading a couple contractors in design. Our design team is growing. We wouldn't have probably mid-level leadership officially, but without that official classification, he's a leader, living our core values, having a great attitude, living this list, but also not settling, taking his craft of graphic design and building every morning, looking at what's happening in design and capturing ideas, but also the things that he does on the team, his attitude on Zoom, his encouragement, his spirit, leadership qualities. Think Media team, we all have the opportunity to say, I am a leader. I can lead. And I can grow as a leader. And so as we get off the plane, and I know for those of you that have connecting flights, I promise you're going to be able to get there in time. But I will never forget Grow with Video Live 1. One of our attendees asked, hey, Sean, why are you pushing for more? Why, as you shared the results on YouTube, I think at the time it was a silver play button. But it was a 6-figure income for Sonia and I. And ultimately, based on I always tell the story, as soon as, we were able to go to Chipotle and they said, would you want guacamole? And I said, yeah. And they said, that's going to be $2.73. In 2024 with inflation, guacamole is probably $6.72 now. And once we got to the zero hesitation on adding guacamole despite inflation level, I was kind of man, we made it. We have enough. But here's what I replied to this person when they said, why are you pushing for more? I said, well, if we only thought about ourselves though, because here's what I said was, well, yeah, we have enough, but if we is the only thing that we're solving for, wouldn't by definition that be selfish? Because it's just about us. And ultimately too, if I think about us pushing for more and growing, you know what scaling your business means? It means more headaches, guaranteed. This isn't so we're doing all these wins downs there, everything's so great. No, it actually means more problems and more headaches and more pain. It actually means more discomfort. But you know what it also means? It means more impact. It's going to mean that ultimately when I think about Brooke and Benjamin, Maxwell, Isaac, Ellie, and Olivia, and their family being connected here and the difference they can make in their family, but also the difference Brooke is making with our students in the future of Think Media. It means Dr. Andrea and Mary's Nest and Dr. iHealth and the viewers and subscribers of those that have joined VRA and VRA Elite and the difference that they're making. I got a text message from John Bevere, who runs Messenger International, sharing the gospel all around the world and really helping Christians go deeper in their faith. And he said, after doing consulting with you, I went from 39,000 subscribers to well over 100,000 subscribers. At Think Media, we like to say that our success is not just measured by our success, but by our students' success, our viewers' success. I think about Pastor Alan Didio helping ministers and churches with this conference, ARM conference. And Evan worked here for a while, and VRA students and the difference they're making. Yeah. What is waiting for us on the other side of pushing for more is more impact. Yes, more pain, but also what about purpose? So imagine a day when the stories of changed lives on our Monday boards are 100 times bigger than they are now. Picture a day when your bank account, you're listening to this, Or think media when your bank account, you work here, when your bank account looks like a phone number. Come on. Hopefully it's international. You get a whole nother digit. Because of the wealth building opportunities that we are creating at this company. Picture a day when we take a team trip to see the impact we're making on children through Compassion International. And we go to the front lines and we get to hear them say to us, I'm alive, I'm fed, I'm safe, and I'm getting a superior education because of Think Media. Why are we pushing for more? Why are we going for more? Is there a cost? For sure, but is there a reward? 100%. And the reward is bigger than money. And so we're on a mission that is bigger than any one of us individually. And our biggest enemy, though, is success and being good. Good is the enemy of the great. So that is why this year, 2024, at Think Media, we are committed to going from good to great.